Right, Poorvi, how have you been?
I am good. How are you?
I am really good. I have to admit that when Jwalamukhi came, I have been addicted since then.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm not saying this to flatter you or anything, but I honestly love it. It plays every day, and
Thank you.
especially when I'm having my coffee in the morning at around 5:30, 6 a.m. It plays. It it
Wow, you
it
start your day
energizes.
with Jwalamukhi. That is amazing.
So that I don't know. We'll talk more about that anyway. But
Sure.
um, tell me. So I don't. The whole world is going through interesting times now with the
Yeah,
lockdown
very.
and everything.
Yeah.
How are you coping up with that, and how are you keeping yourself positive?
That's a very interesting thing or a phase to keep yourself positive. It's not that simple,
Yeah.
honestly. And I'm trying to go through whatever I feel. If you try to resist something, it will keep following you, is what I think. So if you feel bad, just let yourself feel bad. If you feel sad, let yourself feel sad. And if there are times where you feel like you need help, so just go and seek help.
Yeah.
So whatever is happening, I'm just letting it happen.
Yeah.
So that it's over once and for all. I experienced it and that's all. You move on.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I think that is the only way. You really can't do anything about it. You just have to let it happen.
Mm. It's a good way to approach it. I like it
Thank you.
because things are out of our control, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No astrologer can predict that. No astrologer.
I still remember when the lockdown first started.
Yeah.
My folks live in Bangalore, and I called my dad on FaceTime. This is in March, early March, and then I told him, look, this COVID-19 and all things are happening. Lockdown is approaching, and he said, no, I watched on TV. There is an astrologer. He said by June everything will end. I said, Dad, no one can predict this.
Chandar, world was supposed to end in 2012. I waited for it, but it didn't happen. So it was supposed to end on 21st June. That
Yeah.
didn't happen. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so does this lockdown actually also mean creative space for you?
It completely depends. I think it's the same for me even before the lockdown. So
Yeah.
even if you have a lot of resources available, it really depends on how you feel on the inside. If you don't feel inspired, even if you have all the resources in the world, you won't make use of them. But if you feel inspired, even if you have one small room that's the size of a smallest bathroom that you can think of, you can be creative there as well. It just depends on
True.
what phase are you in.
Mm.
But again, to keep yourself steady in the whole process of creativity, you have to, I think, listen to all the other artists. What are they doing? Because I really feel we're all codependent on each other. So everything's connected to everything. So I have to make sure that I keep watching new movies or reading some literature or random. I really don't follow one particular path, but I try to get inspired by all the different people in different countries and different cities. What are they doing in terms of their digital art or their videographies? Anything can inspire you. Not necessarily if you're a singer, only a singer can inspire you. That's not true. Anything can inspire you. So just look out, is what I'll say.
What about music? You're a musician yourself.
Yes.
How
So you mean in terms of how I musically inspire myself?
Not from an inspiration perspective, but it's obviously helping you during these tough times. Because the reason why I asked that is because me as a listener, and I resort to music to keep myself maintain my sanity. That's the word I was
Right,
looking
right.
for. And so I don't know what I would be doing without music. And in fact, I said this to Sir as well during the podcast when he was there. I told him, Sir, I do not know what I would be doing if you weren't there, if your music wasn't there. He said, no, someone else would have been. That's him, right? We know, sir.
That's him. Yeah. He
So,
saved my childhood. He saved all the 90s kids. And I'm so grateful to him for that because, and I had no idea that, things started with his music.
yeah.
I realized it sitting in the studio waiting for one of the sessions. One of my friends, he's a very good friend of mine, also a producer in who I met at Sir's studio only, Ishan Chabra.
Yeah.
So we're really good friends, and we were talking about something like which was the first movie that you saw as a kid. So that's when it really hit me. I was like, dude, I saw Tal, and I was like, what, 4 years old, 3 years old? That was my first movie in a cinema hall. And that
wow.
just hit me. And then my mom told me that the first song that you ever sang as a toddler, I mean, you didn't speak, you sang
Yeah.
this very catchy song at that time in 1994. It was Humma.
Wow.
And I never really thought about these things. I was like, yeah, fine, hoga. And now I was sitting in the studio. I was like, oh shit, this was meant to be. It's like how things are connected, you don't know. You really don't know.
Yeah.
You can just be grateful for how things turn out to be.
Because you must have asked the universe and it just happened, right?
I might have. I must have manifested it big time. I believe that because,
Sure.
for me to even think of myself being a part of the discography of his work is, I don't think there's vocabulary for that feeling. So, yeah.
Of course, you're talented. It was meant to happen.
There's so many other people that are
Yeah.
talented.
Yeah.
There's so many people who are much better than me, and I look up to them every single day. So for me to be given this opportunity, and not just an opportunity, I mean, there's so many songs that so many singers sing, but for this particular song to come my way was like, wow, this is really the very, for a playback singer in Bollywood, it's very you're very lucky if you find a song that really speaks to you. You have to mostly make songs speak to you. You try to twist it and turn and think of, like, this is how I process songs, that I try to find relativity in different songs. And most of the time you have not experienced what is happening in the song. But Jwalamukhi was like bang on. It's like, this is me. I know this. I know this feeling. I know it. So yeah, I think it's
Magical.
just making a fool out of myself by explaining it, but yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd ever be able to explain it to him, like how grateful I am, because whenever he's around, I don't even know how to wish him. So we just go straight to work, and yeah, that's that.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I can relate to what you're saying because I was there in Trichy in February for the concert. I came all the way to meet him there.
Right.
And then it was just the day before the concert. He was up there on the stage for the rehearsals and he saw me and he said, okay, come here. And I went near the stage and he came down, spoke for nearly 15 minutes. And for the first 1 minute, I could speak nothing. Nothing came out of my mouth. And he was like, tell me, man.
I can relate.
And no, but the thing is, it's the respect, and the other thing is how should I put it, it's the aura that he brings. And there's something magical, and to be honest with you, I don't know if you experience it. Every time I receive an email, I received one last night too, my whole body shivers for a split second. There's some sensation which I could never explain. So
for me, it's still unrealistic that this all is happening or this happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try not to think about it a lot, because the more I think about something, the more disturbing it becomes, no matter how magical it is. So yeah, I let it be. Like, okay, this happened, never mind. Let's not think about it so much.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was in Chennai in August 2019, that just last year, for the Chennai concert. Of course, I've traveled numerous times just to see. And I think I've like 12 times or something. And then every time he sees me, he's like, crazy man, you come all the way from Australia. And I would be like, sir, anything for you, come on. And
that is amazing.
Don't want to digress, but what I wanted to say was he invited me to KM.
Right.
So that was the first time I actually visited KM, and it was just amazing. I mean, the whole vibe and the atmosphere was just amazing. I loved looking at the students going in and coming out, and I like the chocolate shop outside,
Yeah,
and
Zuka.
yeah, that's it. And it's so colorful inside. I
It
saw
is.
I saw his office. I saw his prayer room as well. And
Yes.
this is amazing. I mean, the amount of respect every student has when he's actually walking through the hallway,
Of
it's
course.
amazing. I was stunned. And interestingly enough, look, I was there and he came out of his prayer room and he started talking to me. And everyone were like just looking. And I was expecting some student or the other to come running, so picture or something. No one did. I was
It's not
astonished.
that easy.
Really? As in there is
Yeah,
a room.
it's not. It's just again, like you said, it's the aura.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think not a lot of people have that aura. For you to experience it for the first time is also quite
Mm,
overwhelming.
yeah.
So for you to first register that there's something called aura and I'm experiencing it right now doesn't really allow you to jump into a conversation. So you take your time.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah. I I know, of course, I would love to hear everything about KM memories for you.
definitely.
And I was talking to Adam just
Yeah,
2 days ago, and he said Poorvi is way too talented. This is how he said.
he's way too sweet.
So what comes to your mind, KM?
KM for me, okay, I'll tell you that I was born and brought up in Chandigarh, and I always wanted to study Broadway musicals
Yeah.
and Western classical, but there was no institution or a learning ground in Chandigarh. And
Yeah. Yeah.
then there was this reality show, Indian Idol, that I was a part of.
Mm,
After coming to top 4 in that, I
mm,
moved to Bombay.
mm,
And in Bombay, I searched, maybe I should just enroll into this institution. It's just wasn't exactly what I was looking for. There were people who were teaching. I did enroll, but I just didn't, you know,
mm,
not like it's the fault of teachers, but it's you as a student, you know what you want to learn. You
mm,
can't really put a finger on it.
mm,
And then someone told me about KM Conservatory in Chennai,
mm,
and they're like A.R.Rahman sir founded it, and I was like, wow, okay, that is amazing. Then if he founded it, then I'm pretty sure because he's an Oscar winner, and he's been around the world, and it's in his music. I mean, wherever he's been, it's in his music.
mm.
Whatever his
Yeah.
thought process is. I mean, for all you can try to know him is through anyone's art,
Yeah.
you know. So I was like, cool. And someone told me that the 4th year is in London, and my main aim was like to escape India, go outside, audition for Broadway musical and do theater. That was my main aim. Although I was doing Bollywood gigs, but it was just wasn't satisfactory.
Mm,
You're not happy. So I enrolled in KM Conservatory, and I thought that I'd probably get scholarship, because I've done this, I've done that,
yeah.
and not in a arrogant way, but in a way that I know my way. I've been in this industry for past 10 years,
Yeah.
and so I think I was 20 when I enrolled in the college, 21, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
So I asked Adam, I was like, okay, I need to, get into a second year because I can give the auditions for the first year, and then I somehow I gave the exams, and I took the exam, and I enrolled in the second year. So I had to do 2 years and then third year in London.
Right.
Chandar, I sat in the class and analysis class started, and I realized the first day I realized I'm going to flunk.
Oh,
I was like, oh my God, how did it skip my mind? It's Western classical, and there hasn't been one day since my childhood that I've actually sat in a Western classical class. What was I thinking?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I passed. But I am so grateful for that college to be providing such amazing faculty.
Yeah.
My vocal coach, you are allotted personal vocal coaches
Mm.
according to your voice type, and according to your major. Like if you're a vocalist, you're given a personal vocal coach,
Mm.
and if you're a pianist, you're given a piano instructor, piano
Nice.
coach,
Nice.
and you have a one-on-one classes with them every week.
Mm.
So you prepare for your repertoire by the end of the semester and by the end of the year.
Mm.
So first year I was given Rajshri ma'am, and second year I was because she had to move away, I was given Eric Foster.
Yeah.
And the best thing is, these are the kind of teachers I really wanted in my school, as growing up, because it's not just about a teacher, student, the whole relationship of being you just only being a student and I'm being a teacher, and after the school is over, you do your own thing, I do my own thing, and it's always about, this is how the school has been for all of us, that you do your syllabus, my job is to teach, and that's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here it's like teachers become your friends. They in some way or the other look out for you.
Right.
If there's something not okay, they can sense it, and it's really nice to know that somebody is there to really look out for you on a personal level as well.
Mhm.
I'm not saying they're psychologists or something, but it's just how you look out for your friend. Like you have a group of friends and you can see one of them is a little off for a couple of days, so you actually go and speak to them about what's happening, or if they need help, you provide them help. So I think that way faculty is amazing, and I wish I had those teachers in my school. So KM experience for me has mostly been amazing because of the faculty.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you obviously made a lot of friends there too.
I couldn't make a lot of friends in KM, to be very honest, because I was doing my third year in history majors from Bombay as well. So I had to keep switching to Chennai to Mumbai. So the only people I could communicate with were the faculty members.
Okay, got it.
And the friends that I made were in the studio. So I did have some students that I knew, but I'm not sure if I can call them friends because we couldn't spend a lot of time together.
Yeah.
But Zuka's coffee was the biggest friend that I've ever had.
I was going to ask you, tell me about it. I haven't been inside because I spoke to Sir, and then I walked out along with him, and then I just got a cab and went back to my hotel. So I didn't get a chance to go there.
Well, it's like a calming down place.
Nice.
Sometimes it's not about the food; it's about a place that you can just go and settle in after a intense episode of your masterclass or your 2 hours analysis class. You just sit there and you're like, that's it. I see the green grass. I have a black coffee. I love this place. And there were like chocolate butterflies on the ceiling of the. See, you should have seen it. Next time you come, you should tell me. We should go there.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so, did you go to UK for the final year?
I didn't. So there's also one interesting episode that happened.
Yeah.
In KM, I didn't tell you. So there was this opera meets Broadway production that happened in KM, the first year that I entered. So I auditioned for it, and I got through. Adam was directing it. It was conceptualized by Sir, and then that was the first time in one of the rehearsals. Adam just casually mentions. Until that time, I hadn't seen Sir, and I thought it's gone cost for me to even think that I'll meet him. My job is to go study and go to London or wherever my destiny takes me. To even think that A.R.Rahman sir is going to come and take notice of students. There's so many students and they're all brilliant. So I might as well just mind my own business.
Yes.
So in one of the rehearsals, and there is a video of Sempre Libera, opera meets Broadway meets opera production on online on YouTube. So Adam mentions it casually. Okay, so the principal is coming to watch the rehearsal. I thought, okay, the principal means maybe Fatima ma'am is coming. I was the most brainless student ever could be, and that's how I've been in my school also. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll just do my work and that's all. You tell me whoever's coming, I'll show the work and then I'll go. But this time my performance is about to come, and nobody before me, there were 3 other performances, and they're all singing all casually, and I heard footsteps of somebody walking in, and I was like, that doesn't sound like a female slippers or sandals, but okay. I mean, they are boots, but not the sandals, But I was like, never mind. People, why to put gender in? People can wear whatever they want to. So then I walk in for and all of these guys, I hate them so much. Nobody said, A.R.Rahman sir is there. Nobody even, they're all sweating is what I can see. I was like, okay, is it such a big deal? It's just principle, and it's just a production of college, like what? So I walk in and that was the first time I saw A.R.Rahman sir. And I was like, oh, wow, thanks for the heads up, Adam. So, and funnily, Chandar, I thought that I'll sweat or I'll probably forget the words. That was the most comfortable and most free I've been during any of my performances. Wow. I felt like I'm in my living room performing to a mirror. And I've never felt so fearless.
Wow.
And I was just there in the moment. And even when I came back for the other performance, I just didn't feel like I was performing for an Oscar winner. I just felt like I was just performing. And I was finally performing something that not a lot of people could even give me the opportunity for, because it's Broadway. There's no market for it. And even I am learning it right now. I'm not like there in it. I mean, for me to enter a production and be very well versed with the entire dialogues and everything, I need training. But for me to pick up on the musicals and the big pieces, I can do that because I'm a singer. Now I have opera training, so it's much more easier for me. But for me to be singing Broadway productions in front of a person who's directed a Broadway and he's literally composed for Broadway musicals, I really expected me to at least faint, but that didn't happen.
Really?
So and then so I was supposed to wear a red dress in the entire production.
Okay.
He remembered me as red dress. So, and after that performance, I started being called to the studio.
Okay.
And he had no idea that I come from an Indian Idol background, and I hadn't even told anyone.
Yeah.
Only the people who had seen it knew, like students knew, because they keep watching the musical reality shows. Yeah. But he didn't know. And I started being called for these opera pieces in the movies, like 24 and all these movies. And in the last year, I mean, for me, the last year was the second year. Tell me if I'm going too slow, Chandra.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So, in the last year, so usually when you go as a singer, you have to wait for your session to start.
Yeah.
And it can be quite a long time. Like, it starts at 7 hours, 8 hours. It could go on for days.
Yeah.
For a student, I would bring my snacks, like almonds and all of that, and a book, and an iPod, and all sorts of things that can keep me entertained. So one day, it had just been 10 hours and then nothing happened. And sir just walked outside. He's like, your session didn't happen till now. I was like, no, sir. He's like, okay, come inside. And that was the first time I actually saw his space where he composes.
Wow.
And it was just silent. And I was like, I don't know What if I sneeze right now and everything's going to echo? You know, all sorts of the most hideous things were going on in my head. And I was like, no, don't make a fool out of this. Don't make a fool out of this. Don't shut up.
Yeah.
And he asks me, it's okay, don't be scared. And I'm like, I'm not scared, sir. And I'm like, I'm sweating, but I'm not scared. So then he's like, okay, let's jam.
Nice.
I was like, okay. See, I didn't prepare for this all my life.
Yeah.
Okay. Even when I used to practice in my school days, I never thought that someday A.R.Rahman sir is going to say, let's jam. I might have worked a little bit more harder.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, we jammed and I screwed up so many times in that jam. My throat blasted. And I just stopped in the middle. He's like, it's okay, just sing whatever.
Yeah.
And if I sing whatever, Chandar, it's a sight that can be presented on a stand-up comedy. So I was in my head like, so you're not prepared for this. I don't want to show this side of me to you because I really want to work with you. You know, in my head, this was the subtext going on, right?
Yeah.
So never mind. I went through that, but then he was like, oh, it's nice. It's amazing. I really like your voice. And I was like, he's just saying it because I look nervous, probably. You know, I could never believe that he's saying it.
Yeah.
Never. I still don't believe he said anything about my voice.
Yeah.
So after that, we still had time. So that's when I told him about. So I actually can sing Hindi, and I was an Indian Idol, la 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 la, all of that. He's like, oh, so you're a Punjabi? I was like, yes, sir. Half Punjabi, half Himachali. So very awkward conversation, but it somehow just finished. And that night I couldn't sleep. Next morning I had a class. I couldn't really register what was happening in the class. I was like, I will never tell this to anyone here that I spoke to A.R.Rahman. We jammed apparently, but never. It's a special memory that I'll have. I thought it will only be a memory with me.
Yeah.
And obviously he sees so many students. He will always remember me as a red dress, and probably he'll even forget that. It's fine, but at least we had a moment, right?
Red dress.
Yeah, red dress. And so I got a call later from then. That's when I started slowly meeting Dilshad, Jerry, Ishan, and Chetan, all the folks in the studio.
Yeah.
And I started getting called a lot. That one of the days, by the end of my semester, like the last year, Dilshad called me. He's like, you have to sing one word. And this is 3.5 years ago. That was my last year. And he said, you have to sing one word. It's called Jwalamukhi. And in my head, I was like, how would you even... Well, how? Do I have to speak it? Like, is it a voice effects? What is it supposed to be?
Yeah.
So he's like, I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows, Poorvi. Just come to this. I was like, okay, fine, I'm coming. So it was night time, I think, 11-12 p.m. and I knew my entire night is going to go into the studio. So I walk into the studio and sir is like, does this key work for you? Does this key work for you? It's like, okay. Chandra, I heard the track. Lyrics were not written yet.
Yeah.
Composition was, he composed it, I think, a couple of minutes ago.
Wow.
I think so.
Wow.
So before I walked in, I think he had the entire structure in and he had just hummed the entire, like he always hums or sings or plays the melodic ideas that he has for the singers and the musicians to copy exactly the same thing that he has sung or played. I heard the track and you know how you get a feeling every time he mails you that I think I got that. I was like, I swear God, if this song is not mine, why the hell did you give me music? What am I even fighting for, you know?
Yeah.
And I sang just the gibberish parts, you know, when you don't have lyrics, for the lyricist to get an idea how the structure should be.
Yeah.
And and lyricist Navneet was there, and that's when I first met her.
Nice.
And the loveliest part of working with Sir was he includes you in everything. He includes. I was a part of the lyrics writing as well. Like when she was writing the lyrics, he includes people to have their opinions or their thought processes. Like what else can we get into it? What else can we bring to the table? And I absolutely love it. And I think that is so inspiring for any youngster or anyone at any age. You know, that you just don't need to go by what you think. You need to understand what different people from different generations think. I think that's a very wider approach to any piece that he, goes by. So it's quite surprising for me. I was like, I am a KM student. Why do you have me here? Like, what will I do? So we sang that song. Like there were about 5 to 6 versions of the song.
Wow.
And it finalized, and that's it. I left it there, and that was my last year. I thought the song is going to come out the next year. We saw the next year was 2020, but then, never mind, because they have an entire film. Like it says baby, so I'm pretty sure you take extra care of your child. So so after that, it was the last year going on, and I think Jwalamukhi's correction I was there for. So I just, I wanted to crib about something to him. I was like, you know what, let me just say it. I was like, sir, I wanted to say something. And he was in his, there's this swing of him in the studio.
Yeah.
So he was just rotating in that. I was like, should I say it? Should I not say it? Okay, so I wanted to say something. He's like, what? And I can totally see that I've broken a pattern of his thought process, but it's worth it. Now that I've literally got myself into hell, let's just go through it.
Okay.
So he's like, what? I said, sir, I don't know what to do. I'm literally thinking of stepping out of India. And is there a way I can get a scholarship or something, So it's easier for me to handle different things because I wouldn't be doing gigs then, in India. And even if I do gigs outside, I don't know what the market is for a beginner. Because here I already have people who know me, and I was with Universal Music at that time. But over there, I don't know. So a scholarship would help me. And then he just thinks, he does this thing with the swing, and then he says, why don't you do internship in the studio?
Wow.
And in my head, I was like, but what will I do but he's A.R.Rahman, so I shouldn't say anything. He must have had some sort of a vision. So, but I never really saw myself, interning at a studio, and that too, ARR studio, which is a little too big of a deal, Chandran. It's like,
of course.
What is happening? So I said, okay. And then I said, so I'll think about it. Like, I didn't say I'll think about it, but in my head, the subtext was like, let me process it.
Yeah.
Because for me to understand what I'll do in the studio as just a vocalist, I don't know anything else. So I realized how I had just being in KM and working with Sir, I realized how as a kid too, I used to lay out my ideas in different softwares as, I would download so many viruses and so many softwares just to play around with them. And that, my friend Ishan just pointed it out. He's like, dude, that's called producing. I was like, you mean I have been a producer? I just did not know it's called production because it's too big of a word for my little brain to process. So he's like, no, I mean, you created structure, so that is production. I mean, you can do it. So I'm so thankful to Ishan and Jerry to be there as friends and be there as these support systems and providing you help with whatever you need. I mean, I am an annoying friend who keeps asking, what is this? So what do you do with that? So what do you do with that? So they had the patience. They had the most patience. So
it's good to ask questions.
Yeah. So I hadn't started internship then.
Yeah.
But then in one of the concerts that I had in Mumbai, I think Adam had this Rolly ensemble.
Yeah.
And I had come back to Bombay after my
Yeah.
KM degree.
Yeah.
So that's where he was like, why don't you just sing Maya Maya with the Rolly ensemble as a part of KM?
Yeah.
Since you're in Mumbai, so it's
Yeah.
easier for us to get a singer on board. I was like, cool. I had no idea Sir was showing up there.
Yet another surprise.
Yet another surprise. It was, I think, some launch for Apple Music, something in India.
Nice.
I forgot about it.
Yeah.
So all the celebrities were there, like how usually in every party in Bollywood there are. But for Sir, there's celebrities here, and then there's Sir. You cannot compare both of them. It's just two very different genres altogether. So he's like, okay, so are you ready? I was like, sir, I had no idea that you were coming. That was the first time I'd been very outspoken. So I had no idea. So I'm going to apologize right now if I ruin your song. He's like, that's a very bad approach to go by. You should never think that you'll ruin a song. I was like, yeah, that's what you think because you're A.R.Rahman. Obviously, you'll say that. And then I sang. He really liked it. And after that, I got a call for the first time. I didn't have any song released with him. I hadn't sung anything with him before, like no experience with him performing anywhere except the studio. I got a call from his team, I think Rapo Global, if I'm not wrong, to be a part of, to sing in one of his concerts. I was like, is this really happening? Okay, this is going too far. How can I share a stage with A.R.Rahman sir? Person that I would defend in every argument in my school. Every kid was like, yeah, but A.R.Rahman. I was like, shut up. Shut up. You don't know shit about music. So before I start exercising my French, just shut up. So, yeah.
Love it.
So when I was at the concert, see, I shouldn't say it, but it really did not matter who is there, who's performing, who's playing, all the musicians. Of course, they're amazing. But for me, just to be on that stage was that everything was just blurring out. Every single thing. And I don't think I've ever felt so humble in my life.
Wow.
I was like, I don't know what I did to deserve this.
Yeah.
But maybe my parents must have worshipped a bit harder in their previous lives. I didn't do it. I have not been that religious or spiritual in my life. But then, yeah. So I performed Maya Maya and GRA for 4 of the concerts.
Amazing.
And yeah. After that, I started performing in not all the concerts, but certain concerts like in Delhi, or we were supposed to perform in different concerts now as well, but then pandemic hit. So, yeah. And yeah, in the middle of one of those concerts, I decided, okay, you know what, I'll do the internship. Fine. And that's when I moved back to Chennai again. And that's where I really realized that how I love production. Like, this is one of the ways of me expressing my ideas. Every art form is for you to discover who you are. It's not really about showcasing what music is, or theater or acting is not really about what a character is. It's you in the process understanding or pointing out that character in you. So you get to know yourself a little more with every art project that you do, whether it's a song or whether it's a character or anything. So in production, I realized how I had so many of my opinions that needed to be out. That's how I still haven't released any of the independent music, because I really want to produce it myself.
Amazing.
So I'm doing that. I'm producing my music, and I realized how I have a lot of point of views and my own theories of visuals, my own aesthetic, as you might put it. And I was just thinking about it. I was once telling so if I had a projector here placed on my forehead, I could just show you what I think about different music styles, and this is something I had been thinking about since childhood, but I did not know it's called being creative.
Wow.
I had no idea that it's called direction.
Mm.
So, because as a kid, I would just listen to the iPods. I would hide it. We would have winter uniform. You'll have blazers. So
Yeah.
my earphones would go through one arm of the blazer, and I'll just sit in the class like that and daydream all the time. I still do it. I'm so habitual to daydreaming that I do it with my open eyes anyway.
Amazing.
Well, my mom's scared when I'm driving because then we're all daydreaming in real time. But yeah, where was I? Yeah, so that's when he one day called me to the studio, and it wasn't any recording. He's like, "Why don't you try video editing softwares?" And I hadn't told him anything. I just told him that these are the visions, and I had told him this about 7 months before
Mm.
him even talking about it. So he introduced me to FCP. He's like, just play around with it.
Yeah.
So since I wasn't honestly getting any job as an intern, I was just there to sometimes go and sing. And I used to feel like a useless piece of crap. I was like, what am I doing? I feel, when you don't have a job to do, you really feel weird,
Yeah.
and you feel like you're wasting everybody's time just by your existence. So what I started doing was I started a production experiment.
Mm.
So every week on Sundays and Wednesdays, I named Wednesdays Wicked Wednesdays. So I'll present a cover which doesn't sound like the original. So it's like if I would have been given the lyrics first.
Yeah.
How I would have imagined these lyrics with the experience that I've had in my life.
Yeah.
And both in terms of the composition and the production.
Mm.
And the video with however little skills I have. So I started that.
Mm.
And Story Sundays were the original pieces, like small clips. And all of them were 1 minute.
Nice.
Luckily, Wicked Wednesday still goes on, and it's been more than 2 years. And with Story Sundays, I thought, you know what, maybe I should just start producing full-fledged songs.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm working on producing my album. So I have so much to thank Sir to just, push me in the direction of making it all on my own.
He saw it in you, actually.
I had no idea what he saw because I would just sit in the corner numb, feeling useless. And, you do feel useless when there are legendary people working around you, the directors coming in, going out, and you're just there. You feel like a lamppost. The lamp also gives light, Chandra. I was a wall. I was like, what am I doing? So for me, but if I think about it now, he just gave me an open field.
Indeed.
To try on whatever I wanted.
Mm.
I saw the modular system for the first time.
Nice.
And someday in my life, I'm going to invest in that, get a modular synth, and all the patches. And I need to thank Pavan for that because he was taking care of the modular synth. Robo 2's background music was going on at that time. So I was watching all these guys being extra creative,
Wow.
and working day and night. So every movie project was an experience for me to just watch. So best part for me was to enter any session and just sit and watch.
Amazing.
So for me to not have work was a blessing in disguise as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have so much to thank. So much that I don't think this lifetime is enough for me to even I can never express this. Like, I'm saying this to you, but every word of thanks that I say to Sir, it will sound so cheesy. I can never even bring myself to thank him enough. It's just the feelings. I just keep sending vibes. I'm thankful. I hope you get it. Yeah.
I'll share something with you. Sir was there on the podcast, and then there were so many topics we spoke about, and
Wow.
Look, when I invited him for the podcast, I told him, sir, I'm just a fan. I don't have any brand backing. I'm not even a professional podcaster, but I know for sure when I talk to you, I'll speak to you from my heart. And I told him, sir, all that I need is 15 minutes. You can say you're not interested, and I will totally understand. Less than 30 seconds, his response came, I'm coming. Let's do this. And he said, Chanda,
So cool.
I'll give you 30 minutes. I
That's
asked
so
him,
cool.
and on the day of the podcast, he gave me 55 minutes and 2 seconds. Not kidding.
Wow.
And he was in no rush at all. Absolutely no rush. And we were talking about so many topics, and then I'll definitely share the link when it comes out. In fact, Sir
Yes.
will be releasing that when it comes. Um, and so one of the things I told him was, I've had like about 30 odd guests who have come on this podcast now. Everyone who has been associated with Sir in some shape or form, right? And
Right.
and the thing is, I said to Sir, I mean, after hearing so many stories, experiences, and the journey each individual has gone through with you,
Right.
you have influenced so many lives.
Definitely.
And I asked him, Sir, everyone owes it to you all. And this is what everyone said. And he said, they have been very kind. But the actual fact is, as part of the journey that I am on, I have been fortunate to be able to work with each one of those as part of my journey. That's all.
Wow.
And they have been on their journey. I have been on my journey.
True.
And I have not gone and done anything to them. It was all meant to happen. Woof. I could have never thought about something like that.
For me to even think that my journey somehow crossed his
Yeah.
is like, wow, that really happened.
And another thing in the same sort of in the context is, I told him, sir, it was just a year ago is when I got my dream car. I put I love ARR on the number plate and then became very famous and all that. The car became very famous. And
Lovely.
so then a year later, sir is sitting right across me like this and in the podcast for 55 minutes. And I told him, sir, I don't know if you remember, 1 year ago this happened. And 1 year later, you're sitting here and I'm talking to you. A fan is talking to his idol. And I can't believe this is happening. And he said that I don't think I have done anything, but it's probably your mom's blessings that it is happening. So he never takes credit for anything whatsoever.
True,
And
true. He
so,
doesn't.
yeah, I mean, look, I still have goosebumps the moment I think about the fact that Sir was with me for 55 minutes and 2 seconds. And so, yeah, anyway, sorry, I don't want to digress, but what I was trying to say was the fact that it's just magical being surrounded
True.
with Sir around, and then in some shape or form, I can totally not relate is the word that I'm looking for, is the fact that what you're expressing is from your heart, and then there's so much enthusiasm. And when you're talking about your experience with Sir, right? This is what I look for in the podcast like this. And that's the whole point of creating this podcast, because initially when I started off this podcast, the objective was to create a podcast to celebrate his music and keep it alive. But what it has turned out to be is more like a talking autobiography of Sir.
Right.
And I feel very, very honored that, I'm being part of this journey. That's all. So,
Wow, that is amazing. Amazing.
and of course, there are a couple of things that I really want to share with you.
Definitely.
99 songs, the first single came out, which was Jwalamukhi. No, Shirdi Sai,
Shirdi Sai, yeah.
correct?
Then
I loved it.
yeah.
And then Jwalamukhi, the male version,
Yes.
correct? So when the male version came out, I was like, oh wow, this sounds amazing, man. And it went in an infinite loop. And
Yes.
day in and day out, I used to listen to this again and again. And then I told Dilshad is an extremely good friend of mine, and I told him, Dilshad, this song is sensational, man. I love it. He said, bro, wait until the female version comes, and then it comes. And I called him. You were so bloody right. I'm blown away with this. And between us, of course, everyone's gonna know this
Listen
after
to
this
it.
comes out. Interesting part is after 99 songs came out, and I sent through my not really a review, my opinions about each of those songs to Sir,
Oh wow.
and he read it, and I told him, Sir, Jwalamukhi, the female version stands out. That's it, no questions asked. And I didn't mention anything about the male version, but female version is absolutely magical. I don't know, there was something in it. Like you said, there were so many versions of it.
It's
I can
all Sir. Honestly, it's all Sir, and I was just fortunate enough to be at the right place at the right time, is what I'll say. For
Yeah.
me to come to Chennai, for that production to happen, everything's connected. So if you think of any one single incident not happening,
Yeah.
would not lead to this. So I really believe in, things
Yeah.
happening for a reason.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
super
And-
grateful. Super
And-
grateful.
And so, of course, Dilshad was extremely so proud about working on this whole project. And I'm
Oh
sure.
my God,
was-
he was the one who was recording me for Jwalamukhi.
Yeah.
Him and Parag.
Oh, yeah.
And I need to thank both of them for their patience, because we would go back and forth. I was like, no, but this isn't sounding. No, but this is sounding. And we did hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
But then we had amazing fun, because the composition, the moment you hear it, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
I think it's the composition and the production. I
Yeah.
just lucky to
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah. And both these guys, Parag has already come on the podcast, and then Dilshad is
Yeah.
coming this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So I've been very fortunate because number one is have friends like them, and it's just amazing, great guys. More
Yeah.
than anything else, they really mean well, and I had a great time even recently when I went to Trichy for the concert, and I hung out with them and stuff like that. Anyway, I don't want to digress.
Not at all. So, do you sing, Chandar? Are you into...
No, only bathroom singer. I even conduct concerts and stuff like that in my bathroom, but it's only within that space.
So, what do you do? What are you working on in Australia?
So I work in IT.
Oh, nice.
I work as a team leader for the digital team here, and I work on I specialize in Microsoft technology.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, that's
That's
what I do.
brilliant.
So
And you have this going on so strong. The
this is
podcast.
That's my
amazing.
this is my passion. This is one of my passions, I should say, or this passion stands out.
One of your passions. What are your other passions?
My work. I really enjoy my work. I love creating what I create in my work. And music runs all the time. It serves music all the time. I cannot lie.
Right.
And I'm also into fitness. That's probably the reason why you're seeing those medals there. I run a lot of marathons here.
Oh, that's
And-
amazing.
So I do like 15 running races every year in Australia. And yeah, I used to be like a 106 kilo guy before, and I took up fitness. And so
Wow.
fitness is another passion of mine.
That is quite a transition.
So I lost like 46 kilos and then went into running and whatnot, and life changed after I lost my weight. So yeah, and I've got a few passions, yes, related to fitness. I'm into tennis, I'm into cycling, and I'm into running. Also took up Bollywood dancing here. I did the Shamak Dava dance
Oh,
group
nice.
for 2.5-3 years, I think. So it's been a
Wow.
journey. It's been fun, but passion for music, yes, all the time, and then crazy about Sir, no matter what, and then I would just travel wherever he is, and
That's amazing.
Just been
That's
fortunate.
so amazing for
Thank
you to be following so many different passions. It's just to be
It's
doing what you love in life
it's fun,
is a
right?
blessing.
It's fun.
It
So
is.
it's one life after all. So one of the things I really wanted to ask you was voice without words as well. Have you got any memories of that one? Because it's so haunting. Every time I listen to it, something happens. And then one of the things I wanted to ask Sir in the podcast, which I could not because we talked about so many things,
So many
is
things.
I wanted to ask him, Sir, how did you come up or how did you conceptualize with something like this?
Voice without words, to be very honest, when I was called to just, even for one of his projects called
Hmm.
Le Musk,
Yeah.
I'd done a lot of spoken words
Wow.
and lots, like 3-4 years ago, I'd done stuff for Le Musk.
Hmm.
And in the similar space, he said we have to say some words, like they have to be very airy.
Hmm.
And, all his briefs were coming. And I was like, okay, I thought it must be for one of the scenes, as a
Yeah.
background music. And that usually happens that you create an ambient aura for certain
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah.
And Navneet was there, Sir was there, and I literally could picture a scene going on,
Right.
and it's just something happening in the background.
Yeah.
When the album dropped, Chandar, I had no idea there was another song.
Wow.
It turned into a song.
Wow.
Everything that I had spoken, I thought some of the rough takes were just going to be deleted, like as usual.
Yeah.
Because once they must be keeping certain selected
Yeah.
things, but
Yeah.
I did not know it would actually turn out to be a song, and I hadn't even checked. So I really loved the song Sophia, and I was listening
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
2-3 of other songs in the album. I was so stupid to not really see all the songs because I knew Jwalamukhi and Veere Kadde is what I'd sung.
Yeah. I
with
like that
Navneet
too.
and Dilshad.
I like it.
Thanks. That also happened all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So one of the
Your voice stands out, and I could clearly tell, oh, that is Poorvi.
you could that's amazing. It was
Sure.
fun.
Even for the first time when I heard, I could figure out, okay, I know why he has invited you for that song. So
It was supposed to be a demo. He never invited me for that song.
really,
I was just walking around in the studio like a jobless intern. I just had walked inside the studio. I was like, is Sir there? Oh, he's not there. Okay, cool. Hey, Dilshad, what's up? So walked in. Navneet and Dilshad were brainstorming the lyrics of the song Veere Kadde.
yeah,
And it was, I don't know, the second version or the third version being written because they needed some other Punjabi words. So we helped out with 1 or 2 words,
Mm, mm,
That part that turned out to be mine
yeah,
was the part that I had like really invested in.
yeah,
And it was fun because, after such a long time, I'm getting to write something or even suggest something in Punjabi.
yeah,
Your whole childhood just comes there. Like, you know what? Dilshad, let me sing the demo for it. Whoever sings it, because it sounded like it's an all boys song,
yeah,
and it was all about the context of it was anti-bullying.
mm,
That you should be kind with your words and all of that.
mm,
And I was like, I'll sing. He's like, cool. We need somebody to sing the demo, and we can't call anybody. It was 3-4 a.m. at that time.
mm,
So I sang it, and then I was like, just keep asking, Sir, who's he getting to sing? If it's a Punjabi person, not like I'm saying anything about whether it should be a Punjabi person, but there's so much to do with the pronunciation in that.
yeah,
And it's a very heavy pronunciation, which if doesn't come across, you won't feel the impact.
yeah,
So he's like, no. He says that they're making somebody else sing. And I heard the track who was singing it. It was still a demo. Like they hadn't finalized the singer. And I was like, Dilshad, I really want to sing this song. Like it's Punjabi, dude. I need to do this.
yeah,
Like, however thick the texture you want me to bring on, I will do it. It wouldn't sound like a female singer
Yeah.
singing it. He's
Yeah.
like, cool. Let's just give me your best takes. And I just gave him the best takes that I think I could do. And the next thing he's like, cool, I'll just speak to him. And nobody said anything, and I never follow up on a lot of things. I just sometimes just push it a little and then never go there because I don't want to they because a director and a producer have their own vision, So I'm thinking about on my own individualistic level. They're thinking of it as a whole. So I don't know what that whole is. So for me, I can only suggest after a point. So finalized album comes and I was like, yes, it is there. My version made it. So it was there. And one of the, I don't know if it was one of the newspaper journalists or Mumbai Mirror journalists called me. And she was like, so could you tell me a little more about your third song, Voice Without Words? I was driving. So I had to park on the side. I was like, what did you say? What song? There's Jwalamukhi, there's Veere Kardish. She's like, yeah, but there's Voice Without Words and it's solely yours and hers. I was like, let me call you back. I don't want to sound dumb. I checked out and Chandar, I cried listening to it.
Amazing.
I was like, I like it even better than Jwalamukhi.
Really?
Because it's a trip.
Yeah, it is.
You close your eyes, you feel like you've held someone's hand and they're leading you somewhere, and it's like you're walking through a mystical, surreal garden of lights. Is what I thought. And and that's when I called her back. I was like, I thought it was supposed to be a background music, as a part of the background music, but it turned out to be a piece. So hey,
amazing.
What the hell?
In fact, sorry, let me share something to you about 99 songs and Voice Without Words. So when this I'll go one step back. The lockdown started and things were getting very, very gloomy. And I took pictures of the streets of Melbourne, which was like just the day before the lockdown. It was already deserted and it was very gloomy. I had never seen something like this. I'd taken pictures and I sent it to Sir. I told him, Sir, have a look. It's something that I've never seen before. And he said, it's good, less pollution. Right? That's what he responded. And things started getting gloomy day after day. And then I sent him a note saying, Sir, please release something which will be more like a universal prayer or something to the world. And his response was just a smiley. And next day, 99 songs comes, boom.
Oh.
And that's what he knew it was going to be a surprise. So when the album released, this is how I listened to an A.R. Rahman album where one song goes in an infinite loop for days or weeks. So track 1, track 2. Of course, I've heard the single before, so I excluded them. But the other tracks went week after week. And yours just blew my mind, no doubt about it. The Jwalamukhi female version, no doubt.
Thank you.
And as I was in the process, I probably was in the track 5 or 6, I think. And then Voice Without Words was like long way ahead for me.
Yeah, 11th track, I think.
Yeah, and then...
It was the last track. That's how even I didn't take notice.
That's right. And it took me nearly 9 weeks to get to the 14th track, I think. I'm not kidding. And this is exactly what I said to Sir as well in the podcast. And he was like, oh, wow, really? And one of my mates in Singapore, who's also an absolute crazy fan of Sir, and he said he had already heard all the 14 tracks. And I was like in my 5th week or something. I still have 4 weeks to go to get to that. And he said, bro, Voice Without Words will blow your mind. And I was like, oh, I can't wait, but okay, it will have to wait until I get there.
Right.
But when I heard it, oh my God, something just happened. I'd never imagined something like that. And you have no idea. I still remember I was in the supermarket. That's the first time ever I heard that. And I stopped walking. And I was like, no, I have to hear this first. And then, wow, it's sensational.
I teared up. Because I cannot tell you, I cannot stress this enough, how all the songs that I've sung in that studio have had something to do with what I was going on, what I was going through around that time.
Yeah.
Jwalamukhi was a phase for me to like really, it was also quite Jwalamukhi phase for me because I was trying to figure out a lot of things at the same time. There's so many things happening, and then there was a point you can't really put your point across, and that's when you feel that agitation that you will blow up like a Jwalamukhi now if nobody really hears what you really mean. So Jwalamukhi synced within seconds,
Yeah.
I did not know what the song was going to be about because I had only heard the lyrics. But the moment composition came, I just gave it the feel I thought it is about, and it was exactly about that.
Amazing.
And voice without words, when I was speaking or even going through that entire thing, it wasn't the same layout.
Yeah.
It was the layout of the male Jwalamukhi version.
Yeah.
So whatever happened later with the production is completely different.
Wow. Wow.
And what made me cry was somehow, somewhere, I resonate with it big time. Even when I was recording it, I was resonating with exactly the same feel. And what he turned it into, I don't have words. And I'm so grateful that he chose me for these songs, these specific songs.
For sure.
You feel respected as an artist when you're given the songs with some sort of a thought behind it.
Correct.
Which doesn't really happen in Bollywood a lot.
Correct.
And I'm not really accusing them of anything because this is how the business is right now. If not one singer, some other singer. If not that singer, some other singer.
Yeah.
But to really give a piece of situation to a particular singer with some sort of a mindset behind it, it works wonders because there is an intention behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what touches you, I think.
Of course.
So yeah, I'm just grateful that.
Amazing. Love it.
Yeah.
I love to hear stories like this. This is what makes it even more. So, I mean, how should I say it? I like to experience what you have experienced in terms of creating magic that we get to experience as a listener. So I just love this process. This journey is just amazing. I'm enjoying every minute of our conversation because anything that comes from the heart just resonates straight away. And then, I love it.
It does.
So, in fact, the day you sent an email saying, yes, I'm in for this podcast, I sent a note to some of my friends here saying, Poorvi's coming. They were all super excited. Everyone adores you so much. And then there were a bunch of people shooting a whole bunch of questions for me to ask you. And then I had to pick the best of the best. And so one of them, you've already gone very, very comprehensive in your answer about everything about Jwalamukhi. So we'll not go over that again. But her name is A.R.Rahman Pandey. She absolutely adores you. And she asked me to talk everything about Jwalamukhi. And you have gone in depth. I could not have asked for it anymore.
Aradhana, you just spoke to me.
And
you are the voice without words.
And another guy called Raghuram, he sent a very interesting question. So this is something that I had not watched before. He said, please do ask Poorvi about her experience when she burst into the word Jwalamukhi during the Mirchi Awards. And what was she going through and how did she feel? So I got very curious because he asked me about it, and because I apologize, I had not seen that video before. And then I watched it. Since he said, I said, you know what, you got me intrigued, so I'm going to watch it. And I watched it. It was so amazing. In my terms, it was bloody amazing, right? And also the fact that Sir was right next to you. You just smashed it, and everyone's reaction was amazing. And also at a point, the camera was like right in front of your face.
That was so awkward. Oh my God. Because we hadn't had any rehearsal of the camera or before.
Yeah.
Before, we rehearsed only with this to check the sound.
Right.
And the camera guy was not there. The DOP was not there. when he just walked here, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? Look at you? And that was exactly what was going on in my head.
And
What
you
am I
look
supposed to
eye
do?
to eye in the camera.
Yeah. As you can see how awkward that was.
It wasn't
I mean,
awkward, but I was like, you were so confident.
I was, for me, literally in my head, the subtext just kept changing. Like, what are you trying to do? I did not know that he had Sir in the background. So, if it would have been the case, I would have stepped a little, but that would be awkward again. Yeah, so back to your question. That's a very interesting question. Nobody has ever asked me that. Nobody. So for me to be singing that piece with Sir for the first time, that was my first performance in a award show, and that too with A.R.Rahman sir. Just him and me sharing the stage, like literally. No. For me, I don't know why I'm unbelievably calm in such situations, because I could be going through hell at home, but the moment I'm there, I'm there. And I don't know. I don't know how that happens, because once you're on stage, it's like a do or die situation. And there's literally nothing anybody can do in that moment on stage to stop you.
Correct.
Or to even put you on a gunpoint. Nobody's going to do that. You do whatever you want to. Consequences are later.
Yeah.
So yeah. What happened for me was that I envisioned the audience. It just happened naturally. I envisioned the audience as people that I really wanted to say something to. It was the entire Bollywood industry. And I had this urge for the longest time to tell them that this is who I am. This is what I can sing. And this is what I wanted to be heard as. This is my voice.
Nice.
And so many times in so many different recordings in Bombay that I do, I'm expected to sound like someone, which is okay. I mean, I get it. There are a lot of situations where you want a different sort of voice texture to come out. But I don't think all the singers that you've heard till now have actually sung the way they would.
Wow.
You don't know a lot of singers. They literally are singing according to what is famous.
Correct.
And which is a great thing, because it keeps your, your market running, your work running. But I would really like to know singers as who they are personally. Like I would love to listen to their personal albums, their individual albums, their life experiences through their art. And even in some Bollywood songs, if singers are just allowed to let it flow in their own voices, I guarantee you, Chandra, a lot of songs won't sound the same anymore to anyone.
True.
If they are allowed to sing it again.
True.
If they sing it again with what they think they would have sung it as if they would have gotten the song first.
Good point.
With no briefs.
Good point.
And I'm not saying Sir doesn't gives briefs. He does. But then his briefs are such, and his way of directing you is such that your originality is not lost. Like Poorvi is not lost in what Poorvi is singing for Adelsi. So he's helping Poorvi being there in portraying what Adelsi is feeling. I don't know if I make sense.
No.
But
Yeah.
For that moment when I sang Jwalamukhi, or the entire piece was like, this is what I wanted to sing, this is what I wanted to say, but I wasn't given the opportunity to say it for the longest time. And yeah, so it was like revealing yourself for me.
Amazing.
In Bombay.
I watched it a couple of times. Really good. It was really magical. And no doubt he asked that question because that's obviously connected, right? So
But that's amazing. Somebody noticed that. What is going on? And again, in no way I am saying that Bollywood songs aren't great. They are great.
Understand.
But again, their whole ideology behind them is somewhere down the line following what's famous, which is not wrong, but then maybe we can recreate famous,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
how Sir does.
Yeah.
Not necessarily if you really follow, it's going to be a hit. If you just add a little bit of truth in it, it can still be a hit.
For sure. For sure.
So, I mean, it's just my point of view.
I'm looking forward to what you're producing.
Yes. Yep.
And yes, I can't wait. Well, I'll share a very funny fact, because
Yes.
generally when guests come in, the podcast generally goes for about 30, maybe max 40 minutes or something, and
I don't know how much time it is.
we've gone 1 hour 20 minutes,
Is
and,
it?
and I still feel like we can still go for another 5 hours.
Of course. I'm a coffee chai person, trust me. Either I don't talk, or if I talk, it's like, oh my god, shut up.
One thing is for sure, when I come to Mumbai, I definitely will swing past to say hello to you.